Good morning, everyone. We're going to wait about a few more minutes to give others a chance to log in. So bear with us. We'll get started here in a second. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this frigid, cold Friday. This is the Development Services Task Force meeting. We hold these meetings the second Friday of every month. The purpose really is to engage and share what's going on at DSD, right? We like to share new information, process improvements if we have any, updates, department updates, but more importantly, we hold these meetings to get your feedback, you, the development community. So thank you for joining us, and let's get started. What we'll do is first, Nina and her team will share information and updates from the Land Development Group, and then Michael Dice and his team will share information from the Building Division, and I'll close it out with some updates regarding our metrics and our budget. So without any delay, let's get started. Nina?
Good morning, everyone. Nina Nixon-Mendez, Assistant Director, and we're going to kick off our presentation with some information presented by Andrew Demas. Andrew?
Thank you, Nina. Andrew Demas with Land Development Division of Development Services. Let's move down a couple of slides. Perfect. So just a quick housekeeping item about staff positions. We have concluded interviews, an offer has been made and accepted, so that position has now been filled. congratulations to Craig Garrison, who will now be our new city planner. Two senior city planner positions have been interviewed, are included. Offers are in the process of being completed with the Human Resources Department. The same goes for the planning technician. We did include interviews this week, and I believe an offer is going to be going out. Okay, so the big ticket item for today's update regards updates to the plotting process. The first is, of course, application fees are now going to be collected at the time of plat submittal rather than after the plat is potentially heard by the planning commission. This is not only to expedite the process, but definitely make it more efficient. Secondly, one of the reasons for collecting application fees ties directly to compliance with Texas Local Government Code, which those of you familiar, it's called the 30-day shot clock. Meaning once a plat is deemed complete and accepted, we as Development Services Department have 30 days to get it in front of the Planning Commission. Now, that is not a consistent clock, meaning once the Technical Review Committee does their review and we submit comments back to the engineer of record, well, that time it's with the engineer, the clock is stopped. But once it's submitted back to us for revision, those revisions are deemed complete, that clock starts once again. So that's something that we've been adjusting to since that was adopted in 2019 by the Texas legislature. And fees is just another way of expediting that process. Lastly, we do have some plots that have kind of kept their stay of welcome, meaning they are either incomplete or they have been inactive. So instead, for the reasons of making sure that all plats are code compliant with the UDC, and that always becomes a problem if we ever have text amendments, then it gets into a discussion about vesting and all types of other issues. We find it best to say that if plats remain incomplete or inactive on their submittal side, they will expire at 180 days, meaning if a plat was to come back in for revision, it would need to be a brand new application. The same goes with a plat that has already received comments from the Technical Review Committee. That is a note we'll be adding on to that comment sheet to say, if we do not hear back from you as the engineer of record within 180 days, your plat will be deemed expired. Are there any questions on the plotting process updates?
Hello, everybody.
Michael York, I do have a question. I believe one of the reasons for the plat fees being handled not at submittal was because applicants had an issue calculating the fees and they would get it wrong a lot. Is there going to be any type of new calculator or way to confirm you've got it right, up front so that you don't submit with the wrong fee?
Well, on the, that's a very good question. So on the application at the bottom, which we always are in the process of making sure these applications are up to date, item number 9, so if when you do have the application in front of you, there's an entire table for the application fees based on the type of plat it is, whether it's public, non-public, or an amending plat.
Are there any more questions?
I've got a question.
Go ahead.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
So, and I know we're looking into this, but who's in control of plats in the ETJ?
Yes, thank you, Moses. This is Nina. Essentially, we have an interlocal agreement with the county that spells out the terms of how the subdivision process is undertaken. It is processed through the city of Corpus Christi under the terms of the agreement. That agreement was made in 2003, adopted by council, and has since been amended. There's been one amendment to the agreement. So that is how the plats are processed. It does require that we consult with the county, that the county has an opportunity to review the proposals and provide comment. So there is specific language in the interlocal agreement, and that is how we govern the process today.
Okay, but does the city and the county both understand what that agreement is? And is the city in process? I mean, a document that was made in 2003 seems ancient to me, since we seem to update every other document at the city every 2 to 3 years. Is the city in process to review this to quote unquote make it better for everybody?
You know, that's a very good question. In fact, the county engineer and our department have been looking at some amendments, and particularly related to floodplain review, but that we are revisiting that agreement currently.
Is that going to be brought to the Builders Association for review before the county or the city decide what's best for us? And when you just said floodplain manager, wouldn't that mean the property has to be in a actual flood zone to get a comment for that? Because if it's not in a flood zone, why would a comment for flood be made?
Well, I think in this particular case, would the agreement be brought to the Builders Association? We could certainly post the agreement. We could seek public comment on the agreement.
Right.
So we can certainly incorporate that into the process when it gets to the point where we have a draft that we want to move forward. You know, again, as far as floodplain, if there's an impact, if it's you know, in a floodway or in a floodplain area, typically that's something that the city's floodplain management division would review with respect to the ETJ. So that's essentially what we were looking at in terms of making those amendments to the agreement.
Can I request that before the city and the county come up with their draft, that the city have a workshop or whatever word we want to use to review this with the Builders Association first before it reviews it with the county? Because I don't see any amendments being taken serious from us. If you guys go to the county and the county tells y'all what to do, they're not going to turn back.
Well, it's not a process. I'm sorry, it's not a process of the county telling us what to do. We want to be transparent. We want to work together. We have to work together. So I don't mind.
I'm sure on some of the calls that I was on, because they think they tell everybody what to do. So my argument here, guys, is we really need to get a document set forward so nobody goes through what I've been going through for the last 6 months. I mean, y'all made an agreement in 2003 that I don't think anybody understands how to follow, even myself included. And I think we need a clear document that just says the process and procedure and timelines that would be sufficient for everybody to be able to move forward on projects that are in the ETJ, because those are different than projects that are outside the ETJ. So
very, very true, Moses, and we will get back to you on that specific issue because I know what project we're talking about. But overall, when we look to overhaul the interlocal agreement, sure, we'll have a period of public engagement. And if you want us to specifically meet with the Coastal Bend Home Builders Association, sure, we'll get that on the schedule once we have a draft to share. Okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Al, a follow-up question on that, if I could. This is Bart.
Sure.
According to that document, which it's been a long time since I've read it, who is in charge of what? Who is going to have the say of can a plat move forward or not? Since the city has a platting department of responsibility, is it the city that makes the final decision?
Yeah, and that's, hi Bart, hadn't heard your voice in a long time.
Just email.
So, yeah, that's exactly what Moses was commenting on, right?
Yeah.
who's in charge, who does what. You know, the county is allowed to comment on plats, whether, and like any other department that comments on plats. And the city engages that department, that group to say, look, have they satisfied your comments or whatever. Moses, on this particular case, is challenged saying, hey, okay, they told me they wanted it painted green or whatever, and I disagree with that. So move on, city, and so we're looking into that part. So when we, as we are looking to revamp this current interlocal agreement, obviously we'll take that under advisement. But how we do it now, we're going to have a meeting of the mind so that we're doing it. We're moving forward in a constructive way until we can get to a new document. If there's going to be a new document that really addresses this clearly, so to speak.
And not to cut off Barb, but I'd like to chime in on one other thing. The county also has a draft for their drainage. When we're in the ETJ, are we worrying about the city master plan drainage? Or are we worrying about county drainage?
Understand that.
Moses, Moses, you cut off. You had major buffer.
I didn't hear you. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
My question, I guess, is, you know, the city has certain calculations that we follow for drainage. And I'm being told that the county might have a different manual for drainage. If we're in the ETJ, are we going to follow the city master plan, or are we going to follow the county manual?
You know,
and you don't have to answer that now. These are just things I would like to get cleared up because, again, I think they're, from what I've been told by multiple engineers the last 48 hours and the interlocal agreement document that I've emailed y'all, I'm being told that the county has no jurisdiction on any of these type of comments that they've given. The same way they don't give any comments on anything inside the city of Corpus Christi that is all of Nueces County as well. That's the city's responsibility. So I just want to make sure I understand it, because me and the other land developers in Corpus don't want to spend tens of thousands of dollars and get into, you know, needless arguments and drag out plats for 6 months. And I would just add one last thing, as I know I'll have a heart attack, is let's put a time frame also on the county, just like the city has a turnaround time frame. I hope that the city would look at that as well when it makes its new interlocal agreement. So I'll leave it at that.
Well, Bart and Moses, we have a meeting set up with Juan at the county, specifically to talk about the project, Moses, that you recently brought to our attention, but to talk about our relationship overall. Obviously, like I said earlier, we have to foster a relationship where we collaborate on all things. So who's in charge, and you know, when it's an ETJ and those kind of things, we'll certainly discuss, and as we do that, we'll certainly engage the development community as needed, so that it's transparent, and ultimately whatever the new document looks like, in theory, it's understood and agreed upon by all parties, hopefully.
Is there
a sarcastic joke? Make sure Mike's in the room, because Juan's not going to talk. He's going to relay everything to Mike.
Mike who? His sidekick? Okay, no problem. Go ahead, Bart.
Just following up, is there an audience allowed for that meeting?
No, right now that's just internal, or it's just between the county and development services.
Dang. Okay, just checking though.
Don't worry, if I need backup, I'll give you a call.
Thank you.
Okay,
right.
So can we move on? Great.
All right, so our UDC text amendments went to City Council for consideration and first reading on February the 9th, and they were approved, so the ordinance will move forward to council February the 16th for the second reading. We're also keeping our eye on more introduced bills. We're watching 80 House bills and 17 Senate bills. Next page. Next slide, please.
It's not good.
Hold on.
There it goes.
There we are. And so here's some summaries of some of the bills that were introduced. Some interesting things under building, Senate Bill 291, essentially requiring a public notice posted on the building for commercial construction. SB 126 pertains to performance standards of above ground fuel tanks in hazard areas such as floodplains. House Bill 1347 would repeal the current prohibition against linkage fees on new construction to offset cost of rental units. So that's interesting in that typically those linkage fees could be utilized to incentivize affordable housing. Under zoning, several bills, one treating charter schools, same as ISDs, is being proposed. There's a bill that would authorize casino gaming for coastal communities. Senate Bill 355 deals with signs on public right-of-way, increasing the fines. Senate Bill 46, housing homeless by religious organizations. So essentially that would be, there could be no prohibition on housing the homeless by religious organizations. And then SB 500 deals with operating boarding homes, and this would be specifically for elderly and the disabled without a local permit and enforcement related to that. Under land development, this is sort of an interesting combination of bills pertaining to golf carts, allowing the use without a license plate in master planned communities, and somehow it's linked to platting. So we want to watch that one. A couple of bills, companion bills related to annexation of right-of-way if there's a contiguous area being annexed. And then finally, pertaining to licensing, H Bill 636 or House Bill 636 regarding the Texas State Board of Plumbing Examiners, and that relates to the continuation of the functions of the board. And then another bill, House Bill 610, that we're watching, where license holders could enjoin the enforcement of a local law if more stringent than a state law, and there's economic harm in the process. So that concludes the legislative report. Any questions? Okay, next we have Susanna for the trust fund.
Good morning, everybody. This is Susanna Narvaez, Interim Contracts Administrator. In regards to our trust funds balance, the available combined trust fund balance as of December 31st, reported by our finance department, is $1,339,888.30. As far as the individual trust balance breakdown for the water, arterial transmission, and grid main trust is $214,970.91. The water distribution main trust is $41,347.11. The sanitary sewer trunk system trust is $1,016,892.67. And finally, the sanitary sewer collection line trust is $66,677.61. And we currently have pending two participation agreements, and this is the West Point Crossing unit. This is an amendment to the original lift station executed original reimbursement with they're requesting an additional cost of $44,057 This was submitted as the bids went out, and the low bid was over the 44,057. The next one is the River Ridge Unit 4 wastewater and lift station. Their estimated cost is 2.1 million. And y'all might ask, this one goes over our available combined trust fund balance of 1.3 million. So basically what happens, in accordance to our ordinance, we may present this to council, and council may approve, and once the funds are replenished, they will be funded as a first come and first served basis. So I'm currently reviewing those two applications or submittals. Next slide, please. With the city participation, available balance for the city participation funds as of January 31st, the combined total of the participation funds available is 2,497,759.83. Currently, there are no developer participation funds allocated for 2020 bond incentive. And then the city participation activity for the current year 2020-2021, we Cayo del Oso Section 4 Southside Ventures 3 street participation. Their estimated cost is 91,578, and this Cayo del Oso will be going to City Council meeting on February 23rd. We also have pending the Royal Oak future units. It's a PUD detention pond estimated at 475,000, and then Calico Estates Unit 5, a detention pond and drainage estimated at 450,000. Next slide, please.
Are there any questions?
Yeah, the $2.1 million one, where's that subdivision?
That's, this is Nina. That's off of County Road 52. So we currently have a lift station on County Road 52, and this would upgrade that lift station. It would replace it.
So that lift station was actually supposed to be done through your own funding. Peter made a presentation on that about 1.5 years. Why is that being put into the trust fund now when the city was the one who told everybody to go buy land there and that they were going to put a lift station there?
Well, there's currently a lift station, and the lift station is being upgraded.
I know, but that was supposed to be done by, we have a presentation that y'all did in that big room upstairs on the 4th floor where Peter presented that he wanted to put a lift station there when he was trying to attract people for the Sinton plant, and that was supposed to be a part of your 2020 budget. Obviously COVID hit, so I don't know if it happened or not, but why is that being put into the trust fund now when it was supposed to be a part of a city upgrade, not a builder upgrade?
You know, Moses, I don't, not to contradict you, but I don't remember Peter saying that specifically, but we'll do our research as we always do to find out, right? But I don't think that is absolutely accurate, the statement you're making.
Well, I love to hear the accurate statement because I'm almost 100% sure I can go back through my pictures because I took a snapshot of that area because he was mentioning that they were going to use city funds to put in a lift station, and we were all shocked, and I think Bart can chime in too. We were all shocked thinking the city was actually going to put in infrastructure, but his intent was to entice people to get more interest or development in that northwest region. So I'm just wondering why it's being done through the trust fund and not through the general fund like it was explained to us the first time.
We'll verify, Moses. Honestly, I don't, like I said, I don't remember, but we'll certainly verify and reconcile if we need to.
Okay.
Okay. Any more questions? Okay, we'll move on to Michael Dice and his team in the building division.
So good morning, everybody. Hopefully everybody is warm. So we'll start with the building division quickly. As we've mentioned in the past, we are continually working on HR and hiring people as our staff fluctuates between departments and private sector. So we've had a couple of promotions, Frank Garza and Bill Whitliff. They've both been promoted to senior trade of their trades as senior inspectors. We've also promoted Ultra Pena. She is moving from permit technician to front counter to plan review. Again, like we said, we have a very competitive market for construction, so we have had a little bit of turnover in some of our areas. We've currently got a senior building inspector that's been selected and processing through HR. We've got some plan reviewers that have been selected that, again, are working through the process. We have a couple of positions posted online. We have a building inspector position, 2 compliance inspectors, which were part of the fiscal 21 budget to help with investigations and more of a code compliance aspect. We have a chief plans examiner position posted. And again, we're continually working on our trade inspectors to make sure that those are posted and filled as soon as possible. We have had approval through the city manager's office to help facilitate that. So we can skip a couple of the steps in HR for posting. So again, from a staff standpoint, we are working on making sure that we're moving at 100% and we're promoting within as necessary. And again, we're trying to recruit the best staff we can get here to facilitate development. So as we all know, it's going to be cold this weekend. Read in the paper this morning, it's going to be the coldest temperature since 1989 on Monday. So we're dealing with single-digit wind chills, potential road closures. They are predicting sleet, possible snow, all that good wintry stuff that we're not used to in Corpus. So I had to find a jacket this morning. I didn't have anything other than a windbreaker. So we'd like to remind everybody that as part of any time that we have any type of inclement weather, there are potentials for some closures. We just want everybody to be aware of that. What we are working with inspection-wise, we are still scheduling inspections, but we would like to also recommend that you use our virtual inspection program. Again, information can be found on our website. It's Information Bulletin 4. It still allows for you to utilize the virtual inspections for a few of the inspections that are available, such as for building, you can get your layout, setback inspection, wall board, window and door replacement, re-roofs, driveways, things of that nature. Again, your rough ends for your mechanical, plumbing, things like that. So we want to push that back out there. We started that with the COVID stuff back in June of last year. And again, we just want to make sure that you are aware it is an option. I don't know how active your job sites will be with -9 or 9-degree wind chills, but we'll be here as needed if available. Hopefully, again, fingers crossed, there's no closures that we're aware of at this point.
And and one other thing, community, we just want to keep our inspectors off the road, right? So if we can keep our inspectors off the road, we'd like to do that and offer this virtual inspection just hopefully through Tuesday, and maybe Wednesday we can get back to normalcy. So please engage accordingly if you can.
And again, like I said, we're currently at this point, we are open for business. The front counter is open. We're going to monitor the weather as it moves. And again, we'll get notification down the line of any potential closures for the city, including the building possibly being closed. I know Parks has already closed some gyms, the pools, some service centers for Monday and Tuesday. So just keep an eye out for the news. Again, you can reach out to us and we'll fill you in as we move forward. Click on the screen. There it goes. So just some hot topics. We like to just briefly go over some things that are popping up. Just a reminder, information bulletin 3 has been out there for a while. Please just try to have city-approved plans on site. It just makes it easier for the inspectors as well as anybody who's on site to review. When we have an inspector there, it doesn't necessarily have to be the trade guy. We just need somebody that can communicate those issues that may pop up during the inspection to your people, and it makes it easier to have the plans to show that it is required by code. And again, we've been working on this since April of last year just to make sure. So just a quick reminder on that. Again, as we move through, drainage seems to be a hot topic we talked about at length. Again, we're looking at putting out information bulletin 8, which will explain some drainage requirements that are currently in the code. We're working on revisions to send that out for comment. Again, we want to make sure that everybody is aware of what is required by current code and best practice. We just want to make sure that we don't have drainage issues on any of these job sites or limit the amount of drainage issues on any of these job sites as best as we can. And then a quick reminder, work without permits. We've had a large number of jobs out there where we have discovered work outside of scope, work that has not even been applied for a permit, some that have been applied but is still in review. We just want to remind everybody, work before an issued permit is assessed a $450 fee. So we want to make sure that you can work when your permit is issued. If you work outside your scope, please submit an addendum. Please let us know if anything pops up. We know out in the built environment, things can change. It may be in your best interest to modify an existing plan. Please let us know. Again, we don't like assessing the fee, but we do need to make sure that work without permits are addressed appropriately. And one item that's not listed on the screen, but has popped up in the last few days, is payments through the dynamic portal. It's not just a DSD issue. It actually seems to be a finance issue across the board, any online payments. There have been some issues with charges being assessed through the portal that don't show up in the finance portion of our software. And then you would get a charge back on your credit card. So if you pay for a permit that's $100, you may see a charge back, a credit back to your account within an hour that says $100. And for some reason, the payment module is not connecting. IT is working on that. Again, it's not local to development services. It also includes, from what we understand, UDO. They are working on it. It just started popping up this week. If you have any issues with payment, please reach out to our call center or our permit information is online, all of our emails. You can reach out to me or Yvette directly. And again, we'll help assist you through that. And I'll throw it to Luke to talk about some egress issues we've had.
Okay, good morning, Luke Fry, Deputy Building Official. Just real quickly, we want to bring up the topic of egress doors and how those doors should be swinging. We've seen a pattern in many commercial buildings that people are installing non-powered sliding doors for conference rooms and for break rooms and for other areas that don't meet one of the exceptions. So for this section 10.10.1.2, there are a number of exceptions. If your project meets one of those exceptions, that's fine. That's fine, but if you'd like to talk through it, please contact us. Excuse me, we just can't have doors that are sliding that aren't power actuated in an assembly area. So that's a concern for egress and for safety. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions for Michael Dice and our team? Okay. Okay, yeah, pull that up. Yeah, we'll move on to the director's report. January's revenues and expenses. You see on the slide, through the end of January, our revenues came in at around $2.2 million, which is not half bad. However, our expenses came in around $2.3 million, which is approximately we're about $190. We're trending $190 over the revenue that we've taken in, but we're 4 months into the fiscal year, and that's not bad because we knew at the beginning we had put a lot of things in place that we knew would kind of the expenses would kind of outpace our revenue, but our revenue has been surprisingly constant and steady, and we pray that that continues. So we're looking great. We're looking very good. Next, I wanted to share with you. It has on the agenda about the DSD building update. I'm really excited about that and passionate about it. We've got a schematic layout from our architect. I'm going to share that with you next month because I've got to work out a few things, a few kinks to, in terms of how it lays out. But I think you'll be somewhat excited, I hope, because it's exciting for us. So we'll share that with you next month. I also wanted to mention to you all that we are launching our second newsletter today, I think, right? It's a great addition. I saw it. It was great. I thought the first one in December was great. We try to do this every 2 months, and this is very good. I think it's filled with a lot of good information. It's a way for you to meet some of their pictures of some of the management team and the people in leadership here. And it just has, it's our way of continuous engagement with the community, and I think this is exceptional. So if you don't have, we send it electronically, so make sure you forward us your email address so that you can receive it, because it's a great way to stay in touch. And again, it just says what's going on with development services. Performance metrics. Give us a second to pull this up. One more, right. Our performance metrics. Every successful business runs on performance, and the business of development services is no different, right? So these are our performance metrics for the month of January. We took in approximately 273 plan review applications. 241 were specifically residential, and our review time for those 241 is 3.34 days. Our goal is 3 days, but 3.34 is not half bad. We took in the month of January 32 for commercial plan review, and our goal for commercial is 10, and we kept pace at 8.29, which is not bad. So we're always looking to improve. As you know, we're adding new staff, so we are looking really to drive performance a little more and improve those numbers. But even for the month of January, not bad. For the month of February, that may be a different story, but we celebrate what we can, and we know we have work to do. It's the total amount of permits submitted in the month of January. That's all of the permits. Was 1,639, right? Of the 1,639, 1,136 were mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, were trade permits, right? Of that total, 1,639, 957 were issued for the month of January, and of the 937, 673 were trade permits. So a lot of activity. We're doing our best to keep pace with it. It's good to see that just robust, continuous activity, and we're setting in, process improvements so that we can maintain and keep pace with it. In the month of January, we had a total of 2 rezoning applications submitted. On the plating side, we had 8 plat applications submitted. A total of 11 plat applications were accepted. That's carryover, and a total of 10 plating applications were approved by the Planning Commission. In the month of January, we had a total of 9 public improvement plans, right? And we set a goal of 25 days to review those, and we was under that goal at a count of 17.5 days. So that's pretty good. And now with Brett Flint, our new development service or land development engineer, hopefully we can improve our processes even more. For inspections in the month of January, total inspections was 4,224, right? Total inspections scheduled 2,900, or 2,909. We set a goal of 85% for next day, and we're here, in this case, in the month of January, we're at 79.27, 79.3. We have work to do. There's always an opportunity to improve. Eventually, hopefully, our performance metrics, as I share this with you all the time, things here are not very instantaneous, but I want this to be on our dashboard, to be on our website, so that you can, at a glance, see exactly how development services is performing. But we're looking to continuously improve our numbers and our approach. So hopefully, as we get through the fiscal year, you will actually see performance improvement. So with that, are there any questions? Okay, hearing none, I'll go ahead.
Raymond,
Sure.
this is John Tamez. Could you touch on the impact study that was awarded Tuesday?
Hello, Mr. Tevez. I hadn't seen you in a while. It's good to see you and your wife. Yes, I specifically didn't mention the master planning and impact fee study that was approved by council on Tuesday, simply because we're still working behind the scenes to, one, get the contract executed, meet with the departments here in the city and meet with the consultant to plan our plan of attack, right, how we're going to approach this. But I will make this a subject that we'll discuss in the March meeting, if that's okay. And
That is it.
thereafter. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
And congratulations. I think it's well needed.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, with that, everyone, our next meeting is March 12th. Stay warm, be safe, and we'll see you later.
Cover your pipes, bring in your pets, stay warm.